Real disasters always have an element of surprise. They usually happen with little or no warning and often catch people unprepared. As much as possible, an exercise should endeavour to simulate this, creating as realistic an environment as possible. Although participants will know a simulated disaster is about to happen, it's preferable they have no prior knowledge of the nature of the emergency, where it will be, or what the impact is.
Urgent tsunami warning. An urgent tsunami warning is now in force for Tonga. The earthquake has been felt on Tonga. Due to very strong ground shaking,
First notification of the disaster scenario should be communicated in a fashion that could be expected in reality.
Once the scenario has been set, and people then are encouraged to actually respond to it as if it was for a real event. As it progresses, new information is being added. This is what we call injects. It's an injection of information, and it's to try and create either situations that you would expect in reality or to further develop the scenario, and wanting then the participants to respond to those as if it was for a real event.
Once the disaster scenario has been initiated, the teams are expected to contact key organisations as they would in a real event to obtain more information. The master schedule will identify who should be contacted, thereby setting the standard. All key organisations will have been briefed in detail during the exercise development phase to ensure that they are able to respond appropriately. Predetermined injects of information should be communicated to the participants to make it real for them. Once the teams have completed some assessment of the situation and gathered more information, it's expected they will respond as they would in reality. This will include following their organisation's protocols to determine if and how they will respond. If working at a government level, this will involve the setup of an emergency operations centre, while at the community level, they'll be responding within their community plans.
A simulation exercise is an opportunity to also test out systems and processes. Actually, the emphasis is really on that rather than testing people per se. So while we're doing a simulation, it gives us a chance to also look at where maybe the strengths and weaknesses are in some of our disaster plans, and also about how the NGO is going to communicate with some of those key stakeholders.
Having those experiences working together in the simulation exercises will be very beneficial, not only for the population, but only for them in the training to come in the future.
From this point forward to the end of the exercise, injects of information, messages, occurrences and events are provided to further support and expand the initial scenario. These injects must be realistic and designed to meet the objectives of the exercise. During the simulation, it's beneficial to imitate the numerous interactions which take place with external agencies, local authorities and support officers in the event of a real emergency response. In the Pacific, this might be the New Zealand Aid Programme, or the Australian Aid Programme, or the UN or similar. However, to avoid actually involving these organisations, the small team called the Coordination Cell role-plays these organisations, staffed by a small number of management team members. They have access to email, phone and cell phones and pretend to be the donors, the UN organisations and the head officers.
Can you just give us a brief update on the relief supplies?
The Coordination Cell may be responsible for inserting injects into the scenario, again similar to real life. For example, the New Zealand Aid Programme might phone offering generators, initiating the need for an assessment of how many generators are required.
We'll call back and let you know with the update, yeah?
Throughout the simulation, the role players who have been identified in advance will act to bring a further sense of reality to the unfolding scenario. Simulation monitors continually observe participants for their responses, actions and interactions and compare these to the standards detailed in the master schedule. Using their judgment, they might choose to provide advice and instruction at the time, or, more commonly, withhold advice for feedback during the debrief sessions.
Well, to start with, we saw the town officer moving around the community, warning people that there was a tsunami coming. That was before the alarms went off, so people were ready to move. Some waiting at gates, ready to move on. When the siren actually went, people moved very quickly. We were very impressed that people ran. They were in their wheelchairs and their wheelbarrows. They had children in pushchairs, and they did move very quickly with some sense of urgency. So that was very impressive. But even so, the siren was late, and so many people did not get across the line quickly enough.
As new and unexpected situations occur throughout the exercise, it may be appropriate for the simulation management team to add, amend or remove injects from the master schedule.
From 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, also the colleagues in Fiji, the Pacific Humanitarian Team, the PHT, will be involved, and they'll be sitting in a room like you, and they're exercised as well.
It's during the exercise the learnings occur. What went right? What went wrong?
Right, what's gone wrong this morning?
Well, one of the key things is that the tsunami warning siren did not go off in a location, which meant that people didn't get that early warning, and that is really good in the respect that we've identified at a time when it's not a real event, and we can now fix that and make sure they are working for if a real event did happen.
And tell me about the cell phone messages that were meant to go out.
There were cell phone messages that did go out. Some of them got through in a timely fashion. Others took a long time to get through. Others just did not get the messages. Again, this is a really positive thing from the exercise, in that we now know where the problems are and we can fix those for when a real event might happen.
What went right? What went wrong? Whatever went wrong, it is far better this occurred during an exercise than during a real event. This leads us into how the lessons are remembered. It's advised that once a day the exercise is halted and participants come out of role for a hot debrief. This gives an opportunity for the members of the management team to provide information and advice that's relevant to everyone, and to listen to any concerns or challenges that the participants might be facing.
The hot debrief is important to capture the real event that has happened during the day.
To pick up the learnings immediately while they're still fresh in people's minds. We leave it till the evaluation at the end of the programme, and many of those things will be forgotten. It's also a really good opportunity to just feel how people are getting on. Things will need to evolve through the course of the programme, and maybe in the hot debrief somebody says something and it just means that we're going to need to tweak the next day's activities a little bit.
Monitors should also be free to suggest changes which may promote additional learning. This then leads to final debriefs.